staring contest with the ceiling, and my feet was momentarily conscious of the backflips.
Well, hello and welcome once again to another quarantine quickie.
Oh boy.
It's an episode of Bright Eyes Full Hearts Can't Lose, which is the subpodcast for the last podcast, where we talk about the discography of Conor Oberst. We are convened once again because a new song has been released, and that song is Forced Convalescence.
Indeed.
I am your host, Little.
I'm your other host, Little.
Whose new record is out on Spotify, The Sleep of the Just. Listen to it.
Yeah. Listen
folks.
to my album, please.
Make a little playlist. Put the new Conor Oberst songs on either end, and then listen to The Sleep of the Just in the middle.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think they should do that.
This new song, this new Bright Eyes song, features Flea on bass. How about that?
I know. Weird, right?
It's weird. It's actually just weird that there's a Bright Eyes song that really features bass in a way that is prominent at all.
Sure.
Like, I don't really think about Bright Eyes songs in terms of their bass parts. I'm sure there are some good bass parts back there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
I can only think of like Something Vague when it drops down to just like bass and drums for a minute.
Is this death really you? Do these dreams have any meaning? No, I think it's more like a ghost.
Ooh, oh yeah, that's a great breakdown.
I'm pretty sure that's Matt McGinn from Cursive on bass on that song. But yeah, other than that one, bass, not typically something that is in Conor Oberst's wheelhouse, which is maybe why he brought in Flea for this one.
He made a joke the past summer when we saw him about him. He was playing that little like toy kind of synth thing.
Yeah.
And he made a joke about it being given to him by his second favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper. And then he said that's not a joke.
Yeah, so you gotta hope that Flea is the first favorite, and maybe
right,
it was a gift
right.
from Kiedis.
Well, like, so Conor Oberst is hanging out with the Red Hot Chili Peppers on the
Okay,
rug?
the Saddle Creek diaspora is so weird because all of these all of these musicians from Omaha moved to LA, and you've got now like Maria Taylor hangs out with the guy from Counting Crows and Chris Carrabba, like the three of them are buds.
I read that, who was it? Nate Walcott was, or is it the other guy that's in Bright Eyes now?
Yeah, Nate Walcott
what's
plays with
his
the
name?
Chili Peppers, yeah.
What, was he like a live musician?
Yeah,
you
I think he was like a touring trumpeter with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then like, Jason Bozell just co-wrote a bunch of songs on Mandy Moore's new album.
Yeah. I like that they're getting like the cred that they deserve from other, factions of the music industry.
Yeah, because like they're all great musicians, so it makes sense that they all would have found a home in like the permanent establishment. It also feels like maybe there's just some kind of law of nature that like if you stay a musician long enough, then you just end up with all of the other musicians who have stuck around long enough,
Yeah, sure.
Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers are, still around, and so is Conor Oberst, and therefore they just have to be friends.
I don't know that many people that listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but they're still wildly popular.
Yeah, it's kind of like a generation and a half above us.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
So that's why.
Yeah, you're right. It is that.
Did I ever tell you my theory, by the way, that Chris Carrabba originated the coronavirus?
What?
Okay, I follow Piebald on Instagram because you were following
Yes.
them on Instagram. You sent me some post of theirs.
Yes.
And Piebald was on tour with Dashboard Confessional. Then Dashboard Confessional had to cancel a bunch of tour dates because he got super sick. And this was like January, February. And I was just thinking,
whoa,
what if he's the one who started it? What if it's actually the Carrabba virus? Forced Convalescence.
Yeah.
Appropriate title, not only because it evokes the current condition of most people, but also appropriate because you are a person who's had some time where you've had to, like, be bedridden recovering for a while. So I thought you'd probably relate very strongly to the early verses of this song.
Yeah, I definitely do. I relate to the latter verses as well, but being sick and being forced to be, you know, out of work for a certain amount of time, yada yada, definitely gave me a certain way of looking at this song. It was hard to not look at it that way. I think that there's something about the line that he says, I'm not afraid of the future, have to suffer and repeat.
Yeah.
Like he's convincing himself of, like, the great aspects of the world and everything like that. But, like, he's already kind of deemed it that it's, like, very cyclical, you know, feeling one way or the other. So, and I definitely related to that because it's like with my stuff, it's like I not only expect, but, like, you know, just assume that I am going to develop more issues along the way. Not to get too into it, but my arm locked as part of my whole shutdown of my system, and the arm thing is like a constant reminder of it because, like, my arm has pretty much never been the same.
Yeah.
It just feels different afterwards. And so, like, that's kind of what that makes me think of, like, this kind of, like, have to suffer and repeat, like kind of it's never you're never past it.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are going to develop some serious anxiety coming out of this.
Especially if,
I think
speaking about, like, suffering and repeating, if we reopen the country soon and then fall back into it this autumn, you know?
Yeah. I think that people are going to be really freaked out for a really long time. As a person who makes his livelihood comes from restaurants, that is not a good feeling, you know, because it's like, how are we ever going to be the same? I mean, how are you going to enjoy sitting in a restaurant if it's ever, you know, cramped or
right,
or like really anywhere, dude? I'm never going to a concert again.
There's a lyric in the song, you know, in the song he says, "In a daze, in a doorway, I stood crying for what was." And that's another one of those things that it's obviously about, like, before and after an illness, but also it really works well for right now. Listening to this song in general, it made me feel like, oh, it's very likely this is going to be like an era-defining record, you know?
Yeah, like, well, and what a weird, you know, that he had already written this song.
Yeah, they recorded it last summer.
Like what a weird lineup of appropriateness. He said in an interview, I read that he said that there was a pretty obvious song that they asked him if oh my God, what's the name of the other song? Persona non grata. They asked if Persona non grata was like a good example for a single.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, there's like a pretty obvious song that I think should but I've never been one to like pick that type of thing. Do you think that was this song?
No, because I read another interview and they asked him if this was that song, and he said, no, that song's still coming.
Whoa, weird.
But it is funny how I was remembering again, one thing I love about Bright Eyes is just kind of the, like, experimental mode that he's always in. And even though this song is like a relatively straightforward, like, jaunty, bass-driven song with, like, a big chorus with, like, a, you know, like a gospel choir doing the backing vocals, that still feels like an experiment from him, you know? This song still feels...
Yeah, actually, you're right.
It feels like new territory, even though it's assembled pieces of old territory.
In days, in the doorway, I stood crying for what was. In trance, in a taxi, just keep driving, please don't stop.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I feel the same way. The choir came at me in a funny way at first. I was kind of like, oh, wow. It's because I kind of had an idea that there was going to be a choir in this song.
Yeah, they did that Instagram
because
teaser.
somebody's sure to... Yeah. So with that, I was kind of like expecting it, and then when I heard it, it was different than what I thought it would be. But it's so good.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. The sound of the choir is like really strange.
I think
feel
it took
like.
the second or third listen for that part to really click and hit me, and then
I totally
really
agree.
did.
I like almost, not that I didn't enjoy it, but I was not willing to be like, oh my God, this is amazing, until like, third listen, where I was like, man, this comes in at a really great, and the build is just, you kind of expect that too, and the build is kind of different from what you'd want to hear.
Yeah, that's true. It's like this song is dynamic, like a lot of Bright Eyes songs, but the dynamics are a little different than usual. That the line in the first chorus about in a taxi, just keep driving, please don't stop. I think that was what like actually unlocked it for me, which is funny because it's the part that makes me think least about our current moment. It makes me think about the movie Michael Clayton. Which is such a good movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you are looking for something to watch in the quarantine, folks, and you can find Michael Clayton somewhere, watch that movie. It's so good.
Oh,
the ending of Michael Clayton is so good. Are we
in a sub-podcast of what's our movie podcast called?
Oh, I was thinking it's our sub-podcast about George Clooney.
Or our sub-podcast about legal movies.
Do you watch Molly's Game yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Molly's Game is so good.
Did I already ask you what streaming service it's on?
Yeah, it's on Netflix now.
Okay, and I watched Bad Education on HBO last night. That was great.
Oh yeah, that looked cool. Molly's Game it's Aaron Sorkin's directorial debut, and I was a little worried that Aaron Sorkin himself might be kind of a little bit of a sleepy director. You know, he's like a theater guy,
sure.
But like Molly's Game is like almost blisteringly overwhelming the way that it's like cut together, and there's so much like voiceover and like cutting to like newspaper clippings and old footage and flashbacks and stuff. It's all over the place, and it's awesome.
That's good because the last Aaron Sorkin movie I watched, Steve Jobs, boy, I absolutely hated.
Also, a movie that's also overwhelming, but in a really bad way, because it's just a bunch of distracting stuff. It's not really serving that story. The script that Aaron Sorkin wrote for Jobs, it's Steve Jobs. Jobs is the Ashton Kutcher one.
Right.
So Steve Jobs, the one that Aaron Sorkin wrote, that script is like, it's a backstage drama, right? There's not supposed to be bells and whistles. It's supposed to be like as almost blank a backdrop as possible, and it's just about these few characters interacting over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's also very boring.
But Danny Boyle is like, this is the thing. The reason that movie's boring is because Danny Boyle is like, when someone quotes Bob Dylan, we should do a wide shot from the ceiling, and the lyrics should appear on the ground, and it takes you out of the backstage drama of that story. If it were just people backstage, no bells and whistles, just verbal fireworks, it would be great. It would be a terrific movie. But Danny Boyle ruined it. In the case of Molly's Game, it's a very different story. It's not a backstage drama. It is this it's this spidering story that goes off in all these different directions all the time and follows different little pathways. So it's almost like, you know, a lot of like cool, quirky German and French movies they made after Amelie in the early 2000s. Like Run Lola Run or something. So it's served well by that style. It's really weird because it's like Aaron Sorkin learned the wrong lesson from Danny Boyle but applied it in the right place.
I'm really excited to watch it. We just haven't done the deed yet. I'll probably do it today.
So anyway, so Forced Convalescence.
Yeah, they're both the songs off of this record so far have been awesome. I mean, I'm really excited to hear it.
Let's talk about that super old school Bright Eyes interlude that happens with the field recording.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound like the person who's talking? I mean, it's Connor Oberst, and he sounds drunk. And then the other person who's talking, it sounds like the same girl who on the People's Key says, like, he does have a tower that watches over everything.
Okay, interesting.
He has a tower that watches everything that happens. He does have a tower that watches everything.
Boy, shout out to the People's Key.
Yes.
The People's Key is dope.
There's actually a melodic echo in this song to the song "The People's Key in a Machine Spiritual" or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure.
It's like at the end of the verses.
Pain of my own making, cut short by eternity. I boarded up the windows, a catatonic plateau, a backwards black-faced minstrel show.
I think that these two songs sound pretty People's Key to me because it was like kind of like obviously the last Bright Eyes record.
Yeah, it somehow does. I think we said last time that this somehow sounds like a direct sequel to the People's Key, even though all this other stuff happened in between.
It's that perfect kind of equation of like Conor Oberst now that he's older, and you know like what that sounds like, and then like okay, so I'm gonna go back and do this again.
Yeah.
Like what does that sound like now? That's like, and it really, you know, it delivers.
He even mentions turning 40 in this song.
I know.
It's funny, that whole second half of the song, like there's no escaping the housework or the bank clerk, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because that, obviously, I relate to that as a person who I think I've accepted as I get older that, like, a lot of what happens to you is just going to happen to you. Like, you're just going to change in the ways that everybody changes. And what's really weird is that, like, when you're a teenager, you really dread that idea. And then when you're an adult, you're like, oh no, this is like the natural order of things. And you sort of embrace it in this positive way. And,
yeah, I mean, I think that that makes me think of, like, whenever it was, the day that I was like, oh, I'm like an adult that, like, has all these adult problems. And, like, it was like seemingly overnight. Like it was like, oh, I was a kid one day and then all of a sudden I am thrust into, you know, having the same problems as everyone else.
Yeah. I don't know if it happened that suddenly for me, but I definitely started to notice it happening.